Dan was at World Tour on Saturday. Friday. So I came down here to run the show for a little while. And the first band played, they were like 14, 15, 16-year-olds. And they were great. They were really great. And all the other bands who were an hour loaded in, all sat in chairs along the side of the room. Nobody came up in the front of the room to watch them. I didn't see any of them go up and shake their hands after their set. And I was like, man, that's the one thing we still need to finish developing here for. Is this realization that the music scene is a patchwork of everybody working together to promote each other and be some kind of team. And so we grow as we meet people, as we find new influences, new bands, and get booked in new shows. And those guys, if you go up and shake their hands, these 14, 15, 16-year-olds after a set, they'll promote you. They'll go, those are really good guys. And they'll be a connection.
That's the most meaningful show of respect that can ever happen. I wouldn't have been able to play as long as I had because I was playing when I was 13. My band was horrible.
Real bad.
Horrible. Real bad. And we were never really good. Fido taught me all my drums, so I was good. But the whole band...
Your Dennis is awful. They are just as bad.
Well, and that's the thing, but see, when you encounter other bands and people, they get done, I can't tell you how many bass players' hands I've shook, and just when their band sucked, and I was like, hey man, you guys really sound, man. And it just, if you take 5 seconds to talk to them, you will flip out, especially in like a town that's seen this big, this small rather, that you're one degree of separation from them. You may not know them, but I bet you that you know a guy that knows a guy that knows them.
And yeah, exactly. What happened with me was I played my first show, again, no one was there, no one did anything. I played my second show, no one was there. Nobody did anything.
Parents were there.
Parents were there. Tyler was there.
I was there.
I played, I think it was around the third show that a band at the time called Tom Swift, who later became Radio Party DJ, if anybody remembers them. They came up to me and my bandmates and were like, you guys look like Blink-182. And we were like, yeah, we do. That's awesome. They're like, do you want us to hang out with you and show you how to play your instruments and make a band? And that's where we were. So yeah, again, that's what happened, and that's what happened with us. And like I said, we never really got good or made it by any means, but that's what helped us get that drive to really get to the next level and actually have fun playing shows as opposed to just play shows because we're playing shows.
Right. Actually, Saturday is a really good example. We had a kind of an acoustic-y, laid-back indie show on Saturday. Not a big crowd. We used it to meet a couple of new bands. The second band that played is from Mount Pleasant. They're called Wavy Hands.
Corey Dunsmore's band.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they were a strange band.
They're super weird.
Like
They were
greats with keyboards. Which one's Corey?
I think he's bald now. He's still
Okay.
wearing a hat. Weird,
Yeah. So the one guy is, I think, Indian, and he had his hair in this weird, hairspray thing that I guess was intentional, but I'm not sure why. And then Corey, is kind of this big guy, and I thought they were really cool. I bought their CD, but he books the shows in Mount Pleasant.
Corey's a
And
huge
so,
booster.
Fernando Solis was down playing on that show, and he went up and talked to those guys, said thanks for coming, enjoyed your set. I know Fernando's going to be playing a show in Mount Pleasant soon, because they're going to go, oh yeah, remember that solo acoustic guitar player guy that was really cool that we met in Flint? So there's a potential hookup, and I bet there were bands that played Saturday that never even met these guys and left not knowing that the people that booked really cool indie shows in Mount Pleasant were the same group of them. What a wonderful opportunity that they probably let slide because they didn't take the 2 seconds to say hey.
But I'll bet you that Corey took the time to say hey to, you know what I mean? He's the kind of guy that he will take the initiative to do that. The first time he ever saw we did a show at Rebels up in Mount Pleasant. First time he saw Great Lakes, didn't know us from Adam. And by the end of the night, he was like, you're going on tour in a week and a half? I can do this. Can I manage you guys? He was ready to hop in the van. He was ready to he was ready. And you have to be that way. You have to set that kind of example.
And if you guys don't believe this yet, that this works, listen to these stories from years ago, and they still remember somebody walking up, who they were and what band this really works and it really makes it.
So I had a scenario when I was doing shows. I was fixing the lights that looked similar to that, but they didn't work as well.
Probably actually fake hands.
And I was the venue wasn't open, and I hear hello, and I'm in there by myself, and I look over, and it's a girl that walked into the club, and she was like, "Hi." I was like, "What's up?" Like I'm, kind of awkward. I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in my building?" And she was like, "I am in a band," and I was like, "Cool." Show starts at 7 o'clock, and she was like, "I'm in a band from Madison, Wisconsin," and I was like, "That's a hell of a drive." It's like they played the roller rink in Metro Detroit. You guys played there once. It was super awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they were like, the kid who booked shows down there, Colin, said, maybe we could stop up here. You guys are pretty ready. You might let us play. We have an off night. Fast forward 10 years later, she's Kevin Lyman's assistant. She runs Warped Tour. She's in a band called Gardening Not Architecture. Her name is Sarah Saturday. She just showed up one day at the club. She runs Earning Yourself. She does a whole bunch of stuff. She's an alternative press. She's a huge push for women in the punk rock scene. And she just walked into the club one day and asked for a show. And I was like, wow, that is super brave of you. Like, you're in downtown Flint, you open the door, like, you wander in, and,
If those people are booking the big shows, what do they expect of you to get a show? By the way, that's what they did.
We've just connected with her booking agent, who also does Flatliner,
Adam.
Spring,
I work for him.
So we're hoping we can set some stuff up in the future.
Okay, well, in just a moment, we're going to break up into some breakout groups. Is there anything anyone else wants to ask that we haven't covered, you just want to throw out to this whole big group that hasn't been answered for you?
I wanted to reiterate on the note about talking to people even if you don't like their band and just shaking hands with them. I can tell you from playing shows for 20-something years now that if you only made friends and talked to the people in the bands that you liked, you would have very few friends, especially on the road. Because most bands, especially when you're on tour, are just starting out or they've just got a bunch of friends that come to see them and they think they're great, but they're not. Point is, you need to talk to everybody. Anyone that's playing a show that you're playing, if they seem like nice guys, just go up and talk to them before you. Find out who they are, find out what they do, where they're from, what they play in the band. That will take you further than anything else you do.
Never be intimidated, never be loud.
No.
Just go talk to them.
You have to realize that like this is a brotherhood, and like you may not know your brothers, but if there isn't a connection to be made, then let them ruin it. You know what I mean? As long as you come forward and like you said, if you only glad-handed people that you dug their music, I mean,
You never know what's
if you're on tour, like you're in a van with 4 other dudes that you're kind of getting sick of looking at, it's like, hey, I'm Fido. You want to just go to the Waffle House for a minute just so I can get a fucking break here? And that's what you got to do sometimes,
Besides, if you're just good at life in general, you might make, I'm friends with some people whose bands I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
But they're awesome people, and I make really good friends with them, and that's just a life thing. Make
Yeah.
friends in general.
Well, and there's nobody cool that hangs out at the local, because if they were the cool kids, they wouldn't be here anyway.
Never.
But I mean, when I started going to shows in the 80s, it was like the hair metal days, and I went to Grand Blanc. There were like 8 or 10 or 12 kids at Grand Blanc who were listening to punk music or the Ramones or Butthole Surfers or whoever. And the first show I went to, like immediately on walking in the door, I realized it was the 6 or 8 or 10 weirdo kids from every school in Genesee County nearby. Whoever walked in were like, oh yeah, this is where we're supposed to be. And so even after like Nirvana and Green Day got huge, and the music that we listened to went from being like the music that got you spit out or pushed into a locker into music everybody listened to. Being in bands and being part of the local scene is still not the cool kid scene. And I think I like that chip on the shoulder, like coming into downtown Flint and being part of something that's like self-selecting and unique. And it's fine. We just laugh about people like going to these huge arenas and seeing Coheed and Cambria play.
Dude, we played wiffle ball until like 4:30 in the morning in the club. We used couch cushions that were in the club and played wiffle ball. Maybe.
Yeah, and to turn on Friday Night Lights,
Exploding into the
not
sky.
hear the soundtrack and think like, oh yeah, those are those guys that would game on Friday instead of Saturday.
Breaking Pin G did the same thing. They showed up on the metal night. They were supposed to play at Metropolis. They were like, the place is scary. I was like, you guys want to play? Well, now, Will Newton, their drummer, is the drummer for that band Fun, who's like the biggest band on earth right now. And their guitar player was in Take It Back Sunday, is in the Terrible Things now. So you never know what's going to happen. You don't know who these people are going to be. We made friends with Ramona. I got the weirdest email ever one day. She said, Dillinger, Escape Plan, and Mastodon are on tour together, and they don't want a heavy band to open for them. I was like, okay. She was like, I want Kid Brother Collective to play. That's Brandon. That was the band that Brandon was in. I was like, this is going to cause a riot. Like, how? But the bands have been on tour for so long that, I mean, Mastodon and Dillinger are both extremely heavy in extraordinarily different ways. And for them to be like, they want something that they can listen to and not want to kill themselves. And so